And one other thing that I took in from up there that was kind of tripping me out is from a distance, not that he actually looks like him, but from up there looking down, Isaac was really Jaimoe reminiscent.
Bro,
wearing a headband, he had a necklace on. I couldn't see what the necklace was, but from the abstract, his look of sort of a rangy guy with a headband and the necklace was so reminiscent of Jaimoe. And there's some right hand things he does with the cymbals that are very Jaimoe-like, both in terms of the sound and the actual way he moves his body in doing it. I have a little bit of a hard time describing it better than that, but anyone who has watched Jaimoe or watched clips of him back in the glory days would know exactly what I'm talking about. There's just a certain way he's reaching his body and the shape of his shoulders, even of his sort of athletic build, I guess. It was sort of tripping me out a couple of times. There were a few points, and I liked the fact that I couldn't really see his face because it allowed that illusion to continue. Other than both being African Americans, they don't really look alike.
Right.
But since I couldn't see his face, I could ignore that. And there were certain other things that were so reminiscent. So I like that. It was I don't know. It was resonant.
That too.
Yeah, you have to ask him if you have a chance to talk to Isaac. Ask him about, or one of us should ask him about, like, how much literal influence does he have? How much influence does Jaimoe literally have?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious even what his own influences were beyond Jaimoe. I mean, a lot of it might be that they have similar influences. I don't know how much of a jazz guy Brandon is. I really don't know. I've never had a musical conversation with him, and yeah, I would like to. I would.
So you should. His solo record's pretty good, and he does everything on it. He's a New Orleans jazz cat, and yes, Falcon and Isaac were having a blast too. I saw. I mean, the same thing. Like Alan, I was front row of the balcony, and so I saw the same thing. And when I used to go see the Florida Gators back in the 80s and 90s, my parents had season tickets, and we sat up on like the 70th row in the Steve Spurrier era. And that was really what Steve would send out, like 5 receivers every time. And I would look upfield, like you said, and like try to see where the ball was going to go. And, it's the same sort of deal when you're sitting up close. You can really see the drummers. And I saw it like Falcon too. Like the whole time I got to watch them really well. I watched the singers. The people I didn't watch the most was the horns last night, except for Elizabeth over there boogieing her butt off. And, it's like everywhere I look, I don't have to focus on the guys at center stage or the people at center stage. It's things are happening everywhere. And I think Isaac has that Gulfport jazz, that Gulf Coast kind of thing. Jaimoe's early career stuff. And he fits so beautifully. And it's interesting, Adam. I think that all of us, Alan and I in particular, but all of us, when you see the two drummer tandem playing music like this, you think, okay, it's, you want to hear the Allman Brothers. And, their first tandem of drummers with J.J. Johnson was fantastic, but it was more of a layer of sound, less what the Allman Brothers did with the two guys kind of playing something different. And Isaac just brought something completely different from the get-go. And I think it's interesting that, this album, this project, they replaced 3 people to put out, since Signs into I Am the Moon. So like, what is that? A quarter of the band, with Brandon and Isaac and Gabe all coming in. So they had a chance really to, reinvent their sound. And I think the drums, I really think Isaac has added, nothing against JJ. I love the original drum lineup, but I love, there's something Isaac brings. And I think it's the New Orleans funk and the New Orleans, drive that I really did. Bob Diggs, and I thought Brandon, I remember saying this when Brandon joined the band before the pandemic. And I was like, he is bringing the funk, man. Like it was just a different from what Tim did, as Alan said. He still stands there and plays all night, just like Tim did, barely moves. But, you see Brandon start nodding his head, or his head starts going in circles while he's holding the groove down. Shit is going down on stage. There is a deep, deep, deep groove going.
It's more funky than spacey. Is that fair way to describe? Like,
I would say so.
Tim was maybe more out there, and Brandon's more funky.